What's up everybody, welcome back to the Piscifun channel. I'm out here targeting crappies on brush piles and trees early fall. Stick around, this should be a good video. I thought I'd try to catch something on these trees. There's some very nice crappie in here. It's like a 12 or so. There's a tree that's sticking up out of the water, and yeah, I just casted at it with my Kate Outdoors panfish rod. Let's see if I can catch a couple more of these. I might keep a couple of these. Alright, you want to know what a crappie tree looks like? This is the one right here. And let's see, I'm just casting to the side of it because I don't want to get snagged. Holy cow. They're all over this thing. Oh my goodness, I got something messed up with my reel here. I'm hooked up, people. This is instant. Everything, now they all just kind of scattered. I shouldn't say scattered, they just kind of went to the bottom. There's another freaking nice, oh my goodness, this is a freaking slab. This is a good one. Threw that leech with a 32nd ounce jig out there, and it crushed it. It didn't even get close to the bottom. That's a freaking, it's a fat, man, these crappies are fat. Just thick. Things that I look for this time of year, you know, I'm sitting in 16 feet. As you can see, I am literally, these brush piles, tree lines are right on the drop of the old river channel. Sorry for the wind. And I'm just set up, casting into the wind. Typically, you know, once you get closer to winter, as the water temps cool, these fish will slide to that deeper structure. Right now, you can find them anywhere from, you know, 6 feet all the way down to 20 feet on these brush piles. And it is a ripping out here. Let's make it interesting with this light line, but see if I can catch a couple more here off of this pile, just like that one. Didn't even see it, just mentally counted down, and this might be a bluegill. Nope, it is a very nice perch. Wow. Everything is loaded up on these brush piles, eating the bug larvae and whatever else. I don't know if this guy's going to cooperate. That's a nice perch. So as I was saying, this is my 500 series Carbon X. It's primarily my ice fishing reels. I really like these 500s for that, but for this pan fishing, this works great. And the advantage to fluoro is it sinks. I really like the fact that it gets down there quick and I can kind of retrieve it, and it's super invisible. I mean, I'm sure they can't see braid either, but I like running fluoro on my panfish stuff. The ability of it to sink really fast with a really light jig on there. Cool thing about live sonar is I can see there's another pile behind it. There's quite a tree line here. I'm just going to make my edge my way over there, just nudge my way. I'm just going to nudge my way through these trees. As you can see, there's some fish sitting behind the tree. That's a pretty tall tree that comes up, but I'll try to get my cast on the other side of that tree and see if I can pick off a couple fish there. Those look like those are crappies just because they're so much higher up. These last couple fish were tight to the brush, and the one happened to be a perch, so I'll make a couple casts at these and see. Just floating this crawler above them. You don't want it to get into the brush because you'll end up getting snagged. And with this super light line, I can detect the bites really well. I don't really need braid or anything. I got a 32nd ounce jig on here, so if I get snagged, more than likely it's going to straighten the hook. The key is, you know, they're tied to that brush. You want to hover that jig. A bobber would be awesome doing this as well, but I do like jig fishing, so. And right on cue, here comes another crappie. So, show you my rig here real quick. This one's probably like an 11. I'm gonna let him go, but and then I'll show you what I'm using here. That's, you know, decent fish. Right back to the pile he goes. So 32nd ounce jig, just a little bit of a crawler on there. I also have a split shot on there. 32nd ounce jig, a little bit of a crawler. It's pretty hammered. I do have some small leeches too, and then I put a little split shot on there just to get me down there. It's primarily casting into the wind, you know. It's 15 to 20. It's probably 10 to 15, but and then cast at these brush piles, and there goes my jig. And you can kind of count this down. You don't need live scope to do it. You can just kind of count it down once you figure out how many seconds it takes to hit bottom. You know, just mentally count in your head, you know, a couple seconds, and then just kind of hover that jig. That's how we used to do it before live scope. And there's another one on cue. Oh, this is a crazy one. I'm like, this is a bass or something. No, it's just a really nice crappie. Unbelievable. Should probably be netting these fish, but you know, it's a solid meaty fish there, man. They're putting the feed bag on for fall. Have a look there. Solid fish. I'm only keeping a couple, as I was saying. That's, you know, that's a 12-inch. It's probably like a 12-inch fish. Another slab. It's another freaking slab crappie. Look at this guy. Holy smokes. Donkey crappie. Going off the brush pile, 12 and a half. Let's get it. So the advantage to this versus a bobber is the bobber would just be blasting right into me here as I'm casting into the wind. This jig, I can just kind of work it here over the structure and, you know, see if I can entice some fish to come up and bite. That would be the advantage on a super windy day where a jig is going to outperform the slip bobber. A weighted bobber, yeah, you're going to be making a lot of casts. So, and there's a pile of fish on this tree. That's a good one too. I was going to turn the live scope on. I didn't really know what was going to go on there, but it's a nice crappie. Nice float system crappie. Piecing it together out here. Finding them on the brush. Early fall. Yeah, gotta love it. Another key is you want to make your cast. Try to get your cast past the brush pile. And then just kind of hover it over it. Take some practice. A paddle tail, a twister tail works awesome for this. Creates a little vibration. They see it and they'll come unglued. They'll just come right after it. I'm just using a piece of a crawler today just because I was using leeches before, but those are hard to come by now, so just busted off a little piece of crawler. The reason I like the crawler is I may encounter some decent sized bluegills doing this as well, and they will bite, and that kind of felt like a bluegill there, but or perch too. Perch works too. That's the other reason for the part of a crawler. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's my technique too. I just kind of quiver that rod, much like bass fishing. Just kind of give it a little twitch, see what they do, and then when they come racing towards it, I slowly pull it away, much like ice fishing, and usually that's when I get my bites. There we go. Hopefully I get bit here. They're really starting to turn on with this wind. It is difficult making these casts into the wind, but As I was saying, I prefer to jig fish, so I kind of like the challenge. And these guys are coming way off the pile. I was way off the pile with that one, off the brush pile. They're not shy when the wind is, man, these crappies are so much fun, especially on ultralight gear like this. There's another, you know, solid fish. Just on a, you know, I'm just busting up a crawler and pitching it at this brush pile. All right, everyone, appreciate y'all watching this video, and as always, stay tuned for the next one.